What's going on, everyone? TM24 Plays here, and we are back with some more Marvel Snap content. Today, we're continuing our ranking series, and it's time for the 5-drops. Overall, the 5-drops are pretty strong. Obviously, the 5th turn being the one before the very last turn in the game, so these can be pivotal cards that could either win you the game or, ruin your plan. So, we're going to get into some rankings, but before we do, please just take a moment and hit that subscribe button and the like button if you can, because it really does help me out, and it allows me to continue to put out content for you guys on a daily basis. So, let's get into these 5-drop rankings. All right, here we go. We're ranking the 5-drops, and first up, we've got Red Skull. He's a 515, so he is the strongest 5-drop in terms of power. But his ongoing gives your opponent +2 power for each card at that location. So if it's a full location, that's going to be 8 power, bringing him down to a 5/7. So Red Skull, while being really strong, he could have some drawbacks. Overall, I really like Red Skull. He's used in quite a few very, very strong decks. I think he's right on the fringes of the top 10. Maybe even sneaking in, but for now, let's put him at 11. Next up, we've got Abomination, a 5/9. No ability, so he's played in the the Patriot style decks, things like that. 5/9 is pretty good for stats compared to most 5-drops, but being that his real upside is in that Patriot style deck, I'm just not a super huge fan. So for me, I'm actually gonna put him a little bit lower. I think he's in the bottom. He's probably in the bottom for me. Let's put him at 25 for now. Next up is Doc Ock. So, on reveal, pull 4 random cards from your opponent's hand to their side of this location. So, essentially, you're draining your opponent of resources, but that can definitely backfire. I've had a few Doc Ocks that were played against me that I won the game because of it, and I've definitely had a few that caused me to lose the game. So, he is definitely a gamble when being played. And I think he kind of needs to reflect that, being somewhere in the middle, maybe dead in the middle at 14 feels okay for now. Spider-Woman, 5/8. On reveal, afflict all enemy cards here with -1 power. So she did get a little buff. Originally, she was a 5/7. Afflicting the enemy cards is pretty good as well. So if you hit 4, essentially she's a 5/12, which feels really nice. I haven't used her a ton, but she is pretty good early on in the game before you have access to a ton of other cards. For me, though, I still think she's probably on the weaker end, probably somewhere in the teens, maybe even 20s. I'm going to say 22 for now. MODOK. On reveal, discard your hand. Obviously, a super strong card for the decks built around him. Getting rid of your hand can help in a number of ways. Maybe you're getting rid of swarms, so you got multiple copies. Maybe you're getting Wolverine out there. Maybe you're just trying to buff, some of your other cards. I think MODOK's pretty strong. I think he deserves a spot in the top 10, and I think it's probably 10. Jane Foster. On reveal, draw all cards that cost 0 from your deck. Now, alone, that's tough because the 0-cost cards aren't great. But in a Mr. Negative style deck, she all of a sudden becomes really, really strong, drawing you essentially a handful of cards, allowing you to win on that very last turn. Alone, though, her power level does struggle. She needs other cards to be strong, so for that reason, I'm going to have to rank her fairly low. I'm going to put her at 20. I love her. I think she's a very, very good card. I use her in all of my Mr. Negative decks, but alone, her power level it's not quite there. Black Bolt. On reveal, your opponent must discard the lowest cost card in their hand. I think he's much more for memes than anything else. I don't see him being super, super useful. I haven't tried him too much. I just don't think there is a ton of value in getting rid of a low-cost card for 8 power. Now, if you hit like a Deadpool, or maybe you hit a 0-cost death, that feels pretty good. But most of the time, I feel like the value just isn't there for him. Nick Fury. On reveal, add 3 6-cost cards to your hand. Seems like a pretty good effect. They're random, so, what are the chances you get something good? They're a little bit higher because you get 3 of them. But overall, the other 5-drops seem to just be better than he is. I do think he's got some value, but for me, I'm probably going to slot him right there at 23. Next up, we've got Vision. You can move this each turn. If you can get him out earlier than 5, great. If not, you can get him out on 5 and move him to a lane to win on 6. I think Vision's pretty strong. I think he is probably closer towards the middle, maybe like 12 for me. That feels pretty good. Next up, we've got Gamora. So on reveal, if your opponent played a card here, plus 5 power. I don't like these style of cards. I don't like having to rely on my opponent playing something in order for me to get the value that I need. So for that reason alone, I'm going to rank her fairly low. I'm actually going to put her down there at 21 for now. Captain Marvel, at the end of the game, move to a location that wins you the game if possible. Seems like a super, super strong effect. But sometimes it feels a little bit underwhelming playing her. I mean, she's only 6 power, but you got to think of it that it's 6 power wherever you need it. You can definitely, even if your opponent plays a Captain Marvel, you could just, make sure you add to the correct lanes, forcing her to stay in her lane or lose it. So overall, I think she's pretty good, but I think she's kind of right outside the top, the top 10, sitting probably. I'm going to put her below Doc Ock for now. 15 feels okay. The recently buffed Sandman, 5/5. Players can only play 1 card per turn. So this is another way to kind of negate some of those decks that like to, on turn 6 combo and destroy you. I think with his buff, he's actually pretty good. For me, though, I think he's going to kind of have to stick right at maybe number 9. That even feels too high. I think I've got to move a couple of these just for now, because I feel like Sandman's pretty good, but I feel like he's not quite at the same power level as even Red Skull, maybe 13. And I think that's where I'm gonna leave him for now. Claw, ongoing. The location to the right of this has plus 6 power, so it's a 5/10, but you're splitting up the power. Overall, that feels pretty good. He, has some synergy with ongoing locations. You get him fairly early, so I think that's a pretty good card. I think he's probably in the top 10. Sarah, ongoing cards in your hand cost 1 less. Discounts in Snap are amazing. So I think we've got our first top 5 drop, and I think she's going to sit nicely at 4 for now. Arrow. All right. On reveal, move all enemy cards played this turn to this location. So essentially, you get up in 2 locations, you drop her on 6 instead of 5, pulling everything away, and you win the game. Arrow is probably one of, if not the best card in Marvel Snap right now, so I think she's a clear number 1. Black Panther, on reveal, double this card's power, so 5/8 with an on reveal effect. So that means, if he hits Wong, or if he gets, if that's procced again through Odin. Black Panther's pretty good. I think, though, that he's probably right, maybe just sneaking into the top 10. There are some decks built around him, like the Wong, Black Panther Zola combo. He's played in the Shuri decks as well. So I think Black Panther's pretty good. Valkyrie, on reveal, set all cards at this location to 3 power. I really like this effect. It's fun. I wish it was stronger, but unfortunately, it's just not. It's probably, for me at least, I have gotten some use in a Cerebro 3 deck. I just think that overall, it's a little tough. So I'm not going to put her too high. I think she's got to stick kind of in the low 20s. Professor X, lock down this location. Cards can't be added, moved, etc. I love Professor X. I love control style decks. I love locking up a lane that I know is good, so I've only got to worry about 2 lanes. And if you're up in 1, then, you've got the advantage going into the last turn. That can be pivotal. So for me, Professor X is a super, super strong card, and I'm going to put him in my top 5. And I'm going to put him at 5 for now. Next up, Ronan the Accuser, ongoing, plus 2 power for each card in your opponent's hand. Again, you're relying on your opponent to give your card the power. And I'm not a super big fan of that. I don't think this is a particularly strong card, and I feel comfortable putting Ronan just kind of at the very bottom for now. Magic. You can't play this on turn 6, but on reveal, change this location to limbo, meaning there's now 7 turns in the game. I think Magic is really strong. She allows you to play some greedier decks with bigger cards, maybe more combo style decks, giving you that extra turn. And I think for that reason, she deserves a spot in the top 10. I'd probably even say 7 or 6 for me. Maybe even 6. I get a lot of use out of Magic. Leech, on reveal, remove the abilities from all cards in your opponent hand. A super, super strong counter card, essentially. Those decks that are waiting until turn 6 to go off, Leech comes down, and all of a sudden, their cards are essentially just whatever power they have, no abilities, which can be really, really, really strong. So I think Leech is a very good card. I think he probably deserves a spot in the top 10 as well. I don't use him quite as much as I have like Black Panther, but I feel like 7 feels pretty good for him. Blue Marvel, ongoing. Your other cards have +1 power. All around, just a really, really nice card. Great for early decks. I think he's probably deserves a spot in the top. I've got a bunch of cards here that were moved, so we'll get to those in a second. But for me, Blue Marvel feels pretty good, and I'm gonna put him in my top 5 for right now. Now let's get to some of these cards that just appeared on me. So Devil Dino. Decks are built around him. He's definitely a top 10 card. I think we've got to start shifting some of these. I think MODOK is going to be the first one to drop out. I think we've got to move Vision down. I think Captain Marvel's got to move. Doc Ock. I do like Sandman, the new version of him, but overall, if I'm picking between Devil Dino and any of these cards, right now I'm picking Devil Dino. And I'm probably picking Devil Dino over Black Panther. I'm probably picking Devil Dino over Leech. And for me, I feel like 7 feels like a pretty good spot for a Devil Dino to land. Taskmaster, 5-0, right? So, on reveal, set the card's power equal to the power of the last card you played. Obviously played in the Shuri deck with Red Skull. I think super strong, but again, you're kind of relying on, another card to have your power. I think it's strong. I think it's stronger than Vision, but I don't think at this point in time it's stronger than Sandman. I think if you've got to rely on another card to kind of get you where you need to be, then I don't think you deserve a spot super high in these rankings. We've got a couple more here. Let's do White Tiger first. On reveal, add a 7 Power Tiger to another location. So essentially it's a 5/8, but takes up 2 slots. So for me, I don't know. I'm not a super big fan, but it is played in quite a few decks. It's probably on the lower end for me, but it can pop off and does have some strength to it. So I'm going to put White Tiger right here at 16. Next up, we've got Iron Man. Your total power is doubled at this location. Really, really, really strong card. Even though it is 0 power, but if you've already got, something strong down, you've already got a big 4-drop, Iron Man feels great. So for me, I think he is a top 10 card. Maybe he reaches top 5, but for me, actually 5 probably feels pretty good. That feels maybe like the perfect spot for Iron Man. And Hobgoblin. Honestly, one of my favorite cards. I get a ton of use out of him. I love mucking up my opponent's side of the board, and he does it really, really well. There's some synergy with Shuri, but I enjoy Hobgoblin. And I actually think the only spot that's open, the 8 slot, is a perfect spot for him. I think he makes my top 10. I do think he probably kind of falls off behind Devil Dino, but overall, I think Hobgoblin is a really, really strong card. So, just a quick look here. Looking at our top 5, we've got Arrow, who she just might be the best card in Snap. We've We've got Sarah giving you discounts, Professor X locking lanes down, Blue Marvel giving buffs to everything, and Iron Man doubling a lane. So some really, really strong cards there. And then kind of moving into the second half of the top 10 here, you've got Magic extending the game. Devil Dino, decks are built around him early on, plus 2 power for each card in your hand. He could feel really, really nice. As I just talked about, I really, really like Hobgoblin. Leech is you're kind of destroying your opponent's plan, and Black Panther. So I think this is going to be my list for now. I feel pretty good about where we landed on all these cards, but I do want to hear what you guys think. So let me know. Do I have it right? Is anyone too high? Anyone too low? Feel free to drop a comment and make your case. I'd be happy to hear you out. And at some point, when more 5-drops come out and we get them, we will be revisiting this list. But for now, this is it. So if you stayed to the end, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. Don't forget to give the video a like. And if you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button for me so that you can be up to date when all my new videos come out. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at the 6 drops, so be on the lookout for that one. But until next time, have some fun.